today we're going to follow up from our last video. If you remember the last one, I was going over income and how much a house is going to cost you in certain parts of town in the Tampa Bay area. We're going to dive a little more into each neighborhood, what you're going to find there, what are some of the amenities. I'm going to go through some of that individually. And I'm probably going to break this into two videos. I'll do Tampa, the city of Tampa, and some of the closer surrounding areas. In the next video, we'll do the suburbs and, St. Pete, Clearwater, all of that. So we're going to go to the map here in just a minute, so hang tight. So anyway, without further ado, let's go to the map. Okay, so let's jump right into the map here and take a look. For those of you that live in another state, or you're not, maybe you just got here, you're not entirely familiar with the state of Florida. It's a lot bigger than most people think. It covers a lot of ground. Here's Tampa, in the west coast, central part of the state. Orlando right smack in the middle, Miami to the south, Jacksonville to the north, the capital Tallahassee, and the extreme west is Panama and Pensacola, right kind of on the Alabama border. If you were to try to drive the entire length of the state, say from Miami to Pensacola, that's a good 14 hours worth of driving. From Tampa to Jacksonville is about a 5-hour drive. From Tampa to Miami is about a 5-hour drive. So there you go. I mean, that's just a real brief state of Florida look. Let's zoom in and take a look at Tampa and some of our neighborhoods. Obviously, here's downtown Tampa. You've got St. Petersburg and Clearwater over here. As I mentioned before, I'll do a separate video and talk about St. Pete, Clearwater, and some of the northern suburbs like Wesley Chapel, Land O'Lakes, Trendy, and some of the suburbs to the south, which would be Brandon, Valrico, Fishhawk, Bethia, all those places. So we'll get to all that. For today, we're going to do the city limits and a little bit outskirts of Tampa itself. So here's downtown Tampa, and we'll zoom in some and talk about some of the surrounding things in Tampa itself. This is the downtown area with all the office buildings, that sort of thing. Right here by the water is Amalie Arena, where the Lightning play their hockey games. There's concerts, all that kind of stuff. That's right there. Along here is Curtis Hickson Park. That is the riverfront walk. Beautiful, lots of stuff to do there. Down along this side is the Florida Aquarium and the Channelside District. There's all kind of things, restaurants, things to do down along here as well. So, it's taken a while. I've been here 35 years now. They've talked about all this stuff forever. It's finally come about. It's a pretty active downtown area we have now. As far as where am I going to live, all right, well, if you want to be close to all this, and I talked about it in the last video, it's not going to be cheap. For instance, Davis Island is here, and Tampa General Hospital sits on the edge of Davis Island. Davis Island, a lot of wealthy folks live there, professional athlete. Tom Brady had a place on Davis Island. He's probably the most notable, but there's been hockey, Vinny LeCavier, Derek Jeter had a place on Davis Island for a while. So anyway, it's really a nice area and not cheap. Let me see if I can pull it up on satellite for you. And I don't know if this will do it justice, but you can see the island is tightly packed with houses. Very desirable place to be. There's a little airport. There's a little Davis Island beach area down here. It's cool. And in the front end, there's a lot of little shops and restaurants and things like that as well. Across from that is Harbor Island. Again, very wealthy, very affluent. There's a lot of condos and townhomes on this island. Again, not exactly cheap. Right directly across from this, we've got Hyde Park. This entire area here is Hyde Park. Hyde Park, very trendy, very cool. There's a shopping district right smack in the middle of Hyde Park. and that is right here. And it's all kind of restaurants, shops, nail salons, pottery barn, you know, just a bunch of cool stuff down through here. The surrounding neighborhood, expensive. There's nothing cheap about living in South Tampa. To give you a little idea of the geography of that, this is Kennedy Boulevard along here. Everything south of Kennedy Boulevard is going to be considered South Tampa. Palmacia, Virginia Park, you know, Bayshore Boulevard, all of this is going to be South Tampa, and it's going to be pricey. Why? It's close to downtown. It's also close to St. Pete. You can take any of these bridges across and be in Clearwater or St. Pete relatively quickly, depending on traffic and what time of day you're trying to do that. During rush hour, it can be a challenge. You know, as far as rush hour traffic goes in Tampa, if you're coming here from someplace like Chicago, New York, Boston, places like that, this is not going to be an issue for you. You're going to think it's kind of comical that people complain about it. If you're stuck in a horrible day of traffic and you're trying to get from South Tampa over to St. Pete or over to Clearwater across the bridge, and it's Friday rush hour and it's backed up, okay, maybe it's going to take you an hour, maybe a little more, depending on where you're going exactly. Unless there's an accident, like a bad accident, that's about as bad as it gets. I can't recall it ever taking me more than an hour to get, hour and a half maybe, to get somewhere during rush hour. Anyhow, that's your little traffic lesson. So we go a little further north. Let's go back to this so we can see it a little easier. So here, this entire area is South Tampa. Also down here, you've got MacDill Air Force Base on the bottom edge of Tampa there. This, next to Harbor Island and next to Davis Island, this is the Port of Tampa. This is all sort of industrial stuff all through here. Port of Tampa Terminal, you know, all of this is industrial type and the Port of Tampa. If we go north a little bit, and I mean just a little bit, here's downtown. Here is Ybor City. Ybor City, and they're calling it the Historic District. And what they've done, 7th Avenue is Tampa Bay's answer to Bourbon Street. Now, it's not quite Bourbon Street, but it's pretty darn close. It's very similar. All along here is nothing but restaurants, bars, nightclubs, just all kinds of activities and things to do, cigar shops, you name it, it's all along here. The Columbia restaurants down there, very famous place, very good Spanish restaurant, and that's all up and down here. As far as living in Ybor City, these 3 blocks, say 6th, 7th, 8th Avenue, all of this in here is taken up with restaurants and clubs and all that. When you get outside of there and you're back in these neighborhoods and up into here, they've been trying to, you know, upgrade the whole area. A lot of the homes down there were built like in the 20s and 30s. Investors are buying them up, fixing them up, reselling them. But that's a process. That's taken a while, and so you've got a mix of lower income sort of housing, and you've got a mix of, hey, we're going to fix this whole place up and make it nice. And so there's a whole lot going on down there. For the most part, when you get out into here, it's still, you know, lower middle income, and up into this area, it's lower middle income type of houses. But you can't, you know, a lot of investors are buying up down there because it's slowly changing the landscape of the whole area. When you get up a little further north out of South Tampa, up this way to the west side, you've got Tampa International Airport, you got St. Joseph's Hospital. All of this is considered West Tampa. You've got some great neighborhoods all through here, Tampa Heights, what have you. All along Armenia Avenue, just a ton of Latin restaurants. If you like that kind of food, Armenia Avenue is the place to be. It's all up and down here. And you come a little further over this way, you've got Rocky Point. This is all very nice, a very desirable place to live. You know, it's right by the water. Anytime you're by the water, it's typically going to be nice and it's going to be expensive. There's just no way around that when you're near the water in Florida. And when I say near the water, yeah, if you're near the bay or near the beach, it's definitely going to be expensive. Any property, period, in Florida, if your backyard, if you have a water view of any sort, even if it's a retention pond, the price of your home is going to be a little bit more. Even new construction. Lots that sit on a retention pond of any sort or sit on a lake or anything like that, they're going to be more expensive. We can come up a little further. There's the zoo at Lowry Park. This entire area, very nice. I would say middle income is where we're at here. Old Seminole Heights. Seminole Heights, that's this particular area right here. It's on both sides of the interstate, the Florida Avenue and Nebraska Avenue. This is another project, another thing that they had, the city of Tampa had talked about forever, 20 years or more. We're gonna redo this whole section of town and it's gonna be super cool. Finally, that's actually happened. There's a lot of cool, trendy coffee shops and restaurants and things like that that have popped up all along here. Investors have bought up a lot of the surrounding property, that fixed them up and are flipping them and reselling them for some crazy money, and they're getting it. This area right in here has turned into a very nice, very desirable place to live, mostly because of the location. It's got the charming older houses, a lot of bungalow style houses in this area, and they're going for big money, and it's become a cool place to live. Now, slowly that's spreading out. If you go, you don't have to go far. You go 3 or 4 blocks back into this part of East Tampa, and you're back to, you know, lower middle income housing. Sulphur Springs, places, Roulette Park. Again, everything's on the upswing because so many people are moving here, but you have to be aware that neighborhoods change quickly. You can be in a neighborhood, you think this is great, and you go a couple blocks one way or the other, and all of a sudden you're like, this is not so great. So be aware of that. Again, that's why I tell you have to have an agent that knows all this and knows the turf, and to help you get what you want and be where you want to be. We go a little bit further north up here. Well, let me not forget about this. Over to the west side, we've got Westchase, Town and Country, this Carrollwood, Citrus Park. All of these areas, very desirable, very nice. Now we're into middle and upper income areas. All of this over in here, and all of this here. You come a little closer to the interstate, you've got Forest Hills, very desirable. Prices are a little bit better, you know, you're closer to the interstate, but not much. You know, the difference in price between Forest Hills and Citrus Park isn't that great. Over on the east side, we've got the University of South Florida, which is right here. University Mall, this is Fowler and Fletcher Avenues. The University of South Florida spans that entire area. And also down here, you've got Busch Gardens, Adventure Island, all of that. This neighborhood surrounding the university, lower middle income, and you know, it is what it is. When you come over here to Temple Terrace, very nice neighborhood down here by the river. A lot of older, very desirable houses. Like this is back in the day in Tampa. This Temple Terrace was, you know, a place to be. And it's still very, very nice down here, and still a place to be. Come up a little further. So just to give you an idea, let me back out of this a little bit. The University of South Florida is here, Fowler Avenue. This is the line of the city limit. So the city limit is kind of right like something relatively like this. Now, you get up a little further, Northdale, extremely nice. Tampa Palms, New Tampa, extremely nice. Now we're headed out into the suburbs. And I'm going to do a different video on that what I wanted to concentrate on was the sort of the inner city and everything that's close by. And I almost forgot. Out here to the east is also Seminole Hard Rock Casino and the fairgrounds. Florida State Fairgrounds are out here. You know, if you like casinos, if you like gambling, boom, there you go. Florida State Fairgrounds, constant events, concerts, you know, boat shows, trade shows, you name it, they have it out here. What is the neighborhood like surrounding it? Again, we're middle lower income, more middle income in some of these areas. And you know, sprinkled throughout, you can always find a neighborhood that's been built that's super nice. That's why, again, it's a little bit odd. There's some new construction that's popped up down in this area. And you know, really nice homes, really nice little neighborhoods that have popped up. So that's kind of your overview of neighborhoods in Tampa. Just to sort of review: South Tampa, Amalie, Hyde Park, Davis Island, Harbor Island, all of these areas going to be very pricey. Very nice. Everything you could possibly want is down there as far as restaurants, things to do, and convenience and travel. And that's why it's pricey. Come out a little more. West Tampa, Town and Country, Egypt Lake, all of this, I would say middle upper income. When you start getting into Westchase, Carrollwood, Lake Magdalene, Northdale, Citrus Park, all of this is going to be more upper income, high middle upper income. Over towards the east side of Tampa, most of this is going to be lower middle income, depending, you know, again, like I said, there's some nice areas sprinkled throughout, and you know, it really depends on what you're looking for. There's plenty of areas throughout the city that will suit your needs and your price point. You just have to decide, okay, you know, how much do I want to spend? And that's really going to dictate what part of town we're able to look in for you. So there you have it. That's your kind of crash course in neighborhoods in Tampa.
Hit the bell, subscribe, give me a like, do all those things. And as always, if you're moving to the Tampa Bay area or anywhere surrounding, and I don't care whether it's next week, next year, whatever, we'd love to help you out. Make it as smooth as possible as we can for you. Give me a call, send me a text, shoot me an email, and me and my team will get on that for you.